Digital Broadcasting. The best in paranormal talk radio.
Thank you for listening to WBHM Digital Broadcasting out of Birmingham, Alabama. The time is 45 minutes after the hour. And we are back with our guest, Frank Lee. And Frank, I have so rudely interrupted you.
No, it's not your fault. It's the FCC. It's a conspiracy.
We'll roll with that.
But definitely. But, earlier, we were talking about the articles and, being able to defend credible sources. And, you really have to think out of the box to really expand your research and really make some headway with it. You got to get off the paranormal websites. Look at biology, look at psychology, look at neuroscience, look at
physics.
Environmental science. Yes, physics. You've got, so many things that can help you understand the way you can't rule out paranormal activity and say, okay, look, this isn't a ghost. This is this natural phenomena occurring if you have no understanding or comprehension of the natural phenomena that occurs.
Yep.
So the more you learn about things like that, the better you prepare yourself for investigations and the more effective of an investigator you become, because then you find that you can put anything that you encounter through more stringent tests than ever before. And when it passes all of those checks, that barrage of things that you throw at it, and it's still, you just come up empty-handed of explaining it, and it's phenomenal. And I'm telling you, everything that I throw out there, I don't post very much, but you better believe that I'm tougher on the stuff that I post than any critic or skeptic would ever be. And I think that the more that we educate ourselves, the better prepared we are for that. And the more effective we become, if we're a team that helps people, we can't help people if we're not any more knowledgeable than they are. They can sit back and watch the same TV shows that we could. They call us because they expect us to be I hate to use this word, but they expect us to be the experts. They expect us to really know what's going on. And, if we don't, then we can't really help them.
Well, because they could do it themselves and get in trouble, because what people don't realize, and particularly people that have a little bit of an ego issue, is that paranormal investigators will get in trouble too
Hmm.
if they're not aware and educated.
Yes, definitely. And something I want to share with everyone. This is something a lot of you probably learned in college. Um, it's the Feynman technique. I'm just going to run through it very, very carefully. If you look up Richard Feynman, he very, very knowledgeable researcher who came up with this, and this is to help to help you when you're trying to think outside the box, trying to grasp these complex concepts. There's just a couple of things to it. Google it. It's Feynman technique. But step one is you want to write the name of the concept at the top of a blank piece of paper. And then you want to write down an explanation of that concept on the page. But when you do it, you want to do it in plain English. Like almost pretend that you're teaching it to someone else, like pretend you're a teacher and you've got a new student. And in doing it that way, that helps you see right there on paper, on that concept, what you understand, but more importantly, what you don't understand about it. And you look at that, and when you see what you don't understand, you know what you need to go back and concentrate on. And you kind of keep going back and doing this until you get it to the point that you can dissect this concept and explain it from any angle. And definitely, I know we're kind of, running out of time, so I'm not going to go into a whole lot of depth on it, but just put the basics out there. But you can apply that to anything. Um, you know, read, read books that don't have anything to do with the paranormal. Learn about science, learn about history, learn anthropology. Um, I'm going to tell you, I'm going to throw a book recommendation out there
I love
that
when you do that. It just means I have to
the,
hit Amazon when we get done.
this book is one of my favorites. Now, I'm going to go ahead and put a disclaimer on there. This book is written by a hardcore skeptic. If you've got thin skin, you're not going to like this book. Um, but just a wealth of information. It's from a guy named Richard Wiseman. He's a psychologist and
Yeah.
also an illusionist.
Yeah.
Um, the name of the book is Paranormality: Why We See What Isn't There. And like I say, he's a hardcore skeptic, but what he does is he explains the psychological factors that can cause someone to hallucinate, cause them to kind of grasp at straws of anything strange that happens, and and hold on to that. It must be paranormal, no matter how logically it's not. And he also goes into things like environmental factors, that can affect it. And for any paranormal investigator, you need to know what's in that book. It's a wealth of information. Um, but Richard Wiseman, he does a great job of explaining it. And of course, him being an illusionist, he's able to explain, okay, well, this is how our brains trick us, because he does it firsthand during his routine. Um, so wealth of information. Like I say, if you got a thin skin, you're not going to like it, but because, he absolutely does not believe in ghosts or whatever. But
Did
like I
you post
say,
something about him
um,
recently, like this
prob-
week?
Mm, not that I remember, but I wouldn't doubt it if I did because I follow a lot of his stuff. But it's like I say, never underestimate the value of a good skeptic. They will keep you in check and keep you digging further. You don't have to agree with someone to learn from them.
That's true. And, I actually enjoy skeptics because
Hmm.
they make me think. They make me have
Yeah.
to validate what I'm saying.
Yeah. If you've got, if you surround yourself by everyone who thinks the same, agrees with everything, all you have is an echo chamber.
Yep.
You need to be challenged. You need to have someone who, when you put information out there, you come up with a concept that can say, well, what about this? You need those angles presented differently, and that makes you more rounded as an investigator, as a researcher, and it also solidifies your work and your what you present because you know how to overcome those questions. You know how to address those issues, and it makes you think so much more meticulously toward things that it helps you spot things that otherwise you would have probably missed. So always be you know that old saying, you will never grow inside your comfort zone.
Truth.
And that applies to the paranormal just as much as anything.
Well, you have to be willing to crack that mind just a little bit, because believers in the paranormal put on blinders just like non believers.
Hmm.
And, the Malek's tagline is, oh, I can't remember Kevin's line, but the final line is, and for the skeptic, there's never enough.
Hmm. Hmm.
And that's true.
Hmm.
I'm I'm absolutely convinced of that you will never be able to change their minds.
Hmm.
And I know with Harry Houdini, there was a methodology involved that he was
Hmm.
looking for, and I was told that ultimately he did get the responses that he was seeking that they had agreed to do.
Hmm.
So, well, you've got a little more than 2 minutes. What would you like to leave people with?
Well, above everything else, no, I would encourage people to hold nothing sacred. Don't be afraid to question everything. Um, that it's much better to find an answer and grow from it than to hold on blindly to a mindset in error. Um, always be willing to question it, to challenge it, because that's where your growth's going to come from. Hmm. Hmm. Yep. Yep. That. Oh yeah. That. Now for me, I can't watch a Michio Kaku seminar or lecture if I plan on sleeping before 3 a.m. that night because his it's so fascinating and he makes every gear that I've got in my brain start turning and it's 2 a.m. and I'm thinking of particle physics.
Well, people said they couldn't hear me, and that's okay because the show's done.